e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, b4, bishop takes b4, c3, bishop a5, castle kingside, queen f6, d4, knight e7, bishop g5, queen d6, d5, knight d8, queen a4, b6, knight a3, a6, bishop b3, bishop takes c3, rook a c1, queen b4, knight b5, queen takes b5, queen takes b5, a takes b5, rook takes c3, c5, d takes c6 en passant, knight d takes c6, bishop takes e7, king takes e7, bishop d5, f6, bishop takes c6, d takes c6, rook takes c6, bishop d7, rook takes b6, rook h b8, rook takes b8, rook takes b8, rook b1, bishop c6, rook e1, rook a8, rook e2, rook a4, rook b2, rook takes e4, h3, king d6, knight d2, rook a4, f3, f5, king f2, rook a3, knight b1, rook d3, king e2, e4, knight d2, rook a3, f takes e4, f takes e4, knight b1, rook g3, king f2, rook d3, king e2, h5, knight d2, rook g3, king f2, rook a3, knight f1, bishop d5, rook takes b5, rook takes a2 check, king e3, rook takes g2, king d4, bishop c6, rook takes h5, rook a2, knight e3, rook d2 check, king c4, bishop d7, rook g5, bishop e6 check, king b4, rook d4 check, king b5, rook d3, knight c4 check, bishop takes c4 check, king takes c4, rook d1, rook takes g7, e3, rook b7, king e5, king c3, king e4, king c2, rook f1,